If I have to call a halt before we're done, what happens? Can I give you a hand signal or?
Sure, why don't you just put your hand up like stop and we can...
What? You can just keep going. What we'll do, we can actually cut it up so we can, you know, if you want to stop or take a break, we can cut the video so it looks like you're just talking the whole time.
I have a little prostate problem, so I may have to go to the toilet.
Sure.
That's alright, that's, yeah.
Yeah, we can edit it so it seems like you're talking the whole time.
It looks like you're sitting down the whole time. That's the magic of the computer.
Okay, tell me when.
Is that one ready?
I think it's going, yeah. Yep, that's good.
My name is Frederick Witteveen, and this is my story. I was born May 2, 1926, at 2 o'clock on a Sunday morning in my parents' home. No doctor was present, so my older sister acted as midwife. At 2 years of age, I caught scarlet fever. There was no known cure at that time in my life, so I had to suffer with it. It was often fatal, but I survived. When 6 years old, I started school. I was too stubborn to learn anything, and the teacher made me stand behind the class all day. The second year went better, and I got all A's. Playing ball was my passion, and every recess and lunchtime I was on the ball field. There were only 4 kids in my class, a total of 32 in the whole school. We were a small country school with no kindergarten. At home I would push a hoop on a homemade stick. It was a lot of fun and good exercise. When I was 11 or 12, I played a lot of catch with my brother Jake. One time he threw a fastball that hit me in the face and broke my first permanent tooth. We could not afford going to the dentist, so I had to live with it. One day, a couple boys and I decided to skip school. So after lunch, we took off for the beach. It was wintertime and cold. I froze my toes and got a spanking when I got home. No more skipping school for me. I was shy and bashful, and going into the 9th grade of high school was difficult. With over 100 kids in school, I was overwhelmed. But I managed and eventually graduated from the 12th grade and received a high school diploma. Uncle Sam was eager to contact me, and I got my summons to report as soon as I was out of school. So my term in the military was about to begin. It was the 2nd of May. I was 18 years old. High school graduation dead ahead. Then greetings from Uncle Sam. On June 5 of 44, I went to Detroit for a physical. First time away from home made me nervous. I was fearful, excited. First of many changes, many firsts. At a pit stop, sitting on a stool, no separate compartments. One guy comes up, puts his hand on my knee. What's this all about? I forgot what I was sitting there for and moved out fast. That evening, my 2 roommates invited me to go along to a burlesque show. Innocent Fred went along. Queenie comes out, does her thing in front of about a couple hundred fellows. I think my face was red during the whole show. I didn't know these ladies really did take it all off. I was glad to get back to the hotel. This ignorant country boy was learning fast. Next morning after breakfast, off for the physical. Okay, off with the clothes. Dump them in the basket and get in line. So barked the non-com in charge. I stripped down to my shorts and got in line. You heard me, Joe. Get those clothes off. So off with my shorts. I sure felt naked in the nude. After about an hour of waiting, I'm sitting in front of this doctor. And all he does is look at me for about 5 minutes. Crossing and uncrossing my knees and trying to relax and feeling miserable, he says, "Move along, next man." What in Sam Scratch was this all about? I wondered. Finished with the physical, I got my clothes on and came to the last stop. Asked what branch of service I wanted. I said Navy. He promptly stamped Army on my papers and told me to move out. I headed for the bus to return to good old conservative Holland. 25 August of '44, received orders to report to Reception Center in Fort Sheridan, Illinois. About 15 of us left together from Holland. Dad, Mom, relatives, and friends came to see me off. Pocket-sized New Testament was given to each one of us. Jake and Brother Henry already in service, but now the baby of the clan is leaving. Lots of tears and hugs, then on the bus. I'm on my way to serve my country. Then Fort Sheridan. First stop, barbershop. 15 minutes later, no hair. Next to the quartermaster for uniform toiletries at all. Haven't yet begun to shave, but now ordered to get that peach fuzz off. Wow, what an initiation. Now the shots. Right arm, right arm, and again as we walked down the hall. Saw a husky guy faint dead away. Me, I'm still curious and too excited to do anything except keep my mouth from dropping open. It's quite overwhelming as the first day comes to an end. Next day, waiting for orders to move out to basic training. We have to be kept busy, so someone notes that I have typing skills, and I'm to head for some building where this activity takes place. Asking a cadre GI where the typing room is, he points to a building and says, "Get going." As I enter this building, all I see is officers. Needless to say, I was set up by this PFC. So with my first feeble attempt at a salute, I mumbled an excuse. After a hearty laugh at my expense, I was shown where to report. Can you imagine? There's this PFC who must have thought he was pretty funny. I didn't say a word, just asked what I was supposed to do. Apparently there were more raw recruits around and work to do, so he directed another private and myself to go clean his room and leave it spotless. Well, two 18-year-olds given such an assignment, and one of us with blood in his eye, he should have suspected trouble. I've always wondered his reception that night when he found his bed short-sheeted. The train pulled out of Chicago, headed west. No one tells recruits where we're going. Do what you're told and keep your mouth shut, is what I hear most often. Each car in the train was packed with GIs. I find myself seated with 3 black fellows. That didn't bother me. We were all in the same boat. Train, that is. But the 4 white guys across the aisle didn't like it. They motioned me to join them. But I didn't get the message until one of them said, "Come over here and sit with us." This was my first awareness of racism, and I was too naive to recognize or understand it. It took a week to get to Camp Roberts, California, where 16 weeks of basic training followed. I was fortunate to be assigned to Message Center activity, where I spent 24 hours daily learning Morse code and related Army techniques for communication. Physical training took its toll, but also built us into fighting form. 120-degree heat in the tarmac, working up to 10-mile hikes with a 40-pound pack. 1 week of night fight maneuvers, learning the intricacies of the M1 rifle, all contributed to make the time pass quickly. At the end of basic, our entire unit was assigned to Fort Ord, California, prior to going overseas. Then came an emergency call from home that Dad was seriously ill, resulted in a 1 week emergency leave, called a delay en route. Dad pulled through, and I reported back to Fort Ord. I learned later that 90% of the unit I trained with was destroyed by the Japanese. Apparently the Lord had other plans for me. I spent about a month for further message center training and field experience. Somewhere along the way I became a PFC and received a Good Conduct Medal. I think everyone who made it this far received the same. February 18 of 45, I headed for Fort Lawton, Washington to board ship. Deciding I wanted the family to know I was going overseas, I sent a V-mail card from Fort Lawton. That note was so censored that the message could not be made out, but I think they knew what it meant. I had one opportunity for a pass before shipping out. In town, acting like a big wheel, I bought a fifth of whiskey. Tucking it under my shirt, we went back to the base. Interesting sidelight. This was Seattle, fairly large city. Stopped at a local mission, asked if there was a CRC in town. They never heard of the Christian Reformed Church. I couldn't believe it. Didn't everyone know about the CRC? So my education continues. Left Fort Lawton on February 23 of 45 on board ship, somewhere in the Pacific. Danger of enemy submarines is real. No lights at night. Smoking lamp is out. 2,000 troops on board. During the day, the Navy practiced shooting their big guns. Kind of a scary feeling, to say the least. First day out, inspection. Here we are, packed like sardines in the hold, a canvas hammock, barely room to get to your own sack. And we have to stand inspection. Empty your duffel bag on your sack and stand by until cleared, is the order given. Remember the bottle I acquired earlier? I was still carrying it along, unopened. So I tried to conceal it under the bag. But the OD officer of the day got to me. He said, "What's in the bag, soldier?" "Nothing, sir," I replied. "But please don't break the bottle." He said what it was, all right. Can't read it already. Or was grinning at me and said, "Carry on." It was then I wondered what the heck was I doing, toting this bottle a long way from home. I knew I would never drink it, so I gave it away and tucked the incident away in my memory banks.